578 was first used in mainline passenger service and worked the Scioto Division operating into Columbus, Ohio from 1917 to 1944. After that, it performed a variety of less glamorous tasks and ended its career in 1958 in work train service. The following year, still in excellent operating condition, it was donated to the Ohio Railway Museum in Worthington, Ohio. The N&W discontinued all steam operations in 1960, and by the end of that year, the 578 was the only operable N&W steamer in the United States. It continued to run several weekends each summer at the museum until its flue time ran out at the end of the 1966 operating season. By coincidence, that was the summer that the dormant rail fan in me woke up and I joined the museum, attracted mainly by the 578. I was one of several museum members under the leadership of Rodney Mackin, who spent most of their free time and money over the next 4 years returning the 578 to service. That's me on the right, Rodney in the middle, and I want to say Al Davis on the left. Hope I got that right. We couldn't have accomplished this task without the invaluable assistance of a retired Pennsy Boilermaker from the Columbus area. I think we spent one entire summer removing the flexible stable caps, which hadn't been off in almost a decade. Rod sent me to Sears to buy the biggest socket I'd ever seen. He told me to start breaking the caps loose. So I put it on one I could reach from the ground, and I pulled and tugged and beat on it, and it wouldn't budge. So I got Rodney, and we both pulled and jerked on it, and still no movement. Then Rodney said, "I'll show you how to do this." And a few minutes later, he came back with an iron pipe, slipped it over the wrench handle, called Al over, and all three of us jerked with all our might. We heard a loud crack and landed in a pile on the ground, but the cap was still unmoved. Rod looked at the socket and said, "Take this back and see if those Craftsman guarantees are any good." Well, the Sears clerk showed it to the manager, and the manager looked at it, looked at me, shook his head, went to the back and brought out a new one. As he handed it to me, he said, "How long was the cheater bar?" I said, "Oh, about 5 feet. He said, "Well, if you break this one, don't bring it back here." One of the old railroaders told us to heat the caps up with a torch first, so we didn't break any more sockets. Finally, the job was done. The steeple cab was used to drag 578 down to the coal yard. The tender was filled, and we commenced to fire her up. Don't remember the exact date, but it was the day of my 10th high school reunion. Had to choose between going to the reunion or standing the first fire watch. Hated to miss the reunion, but what could I do? I never did get movies of her running after the restoration because whenever I was there on operating days, I was busy. Took a few slides though. Incidentally, during that 4-year period, we also built the depot, extended the main line at least half a mile further south, started construction on the south yard, and added an RPO and 2 classic heavyweight Pullman cars, the Times Square and the John Greenleaf Whittier to the collection. And of course, there was the ongoing restoration, maintenance, and operation of the trolley equipment. Unfortunately, it was soon discovered that the 578 had a broken spring hanger. It was too serious to ignore and too big a repair to accomplish with the museum's resources. Several options were explored, but none panned out. By the time I moved west in 1973, the decision had already been made to suspend operation of the old 578. To the best of my knowledge, all facts about the 578 related here are true and accurate. However, some say that the Goth Papa is getting old, and that he remembers things that never happened and forgets some things that did happen. Whatever. For sure, the story about the Craftsman socket is an absolute fact. As for the rest, trust but verify.